Good evening. I know we're a little late. My fault. Got off work a little late. How are you this evening, Jill?
I'm good. How are you?
So, for those of you that don't know, Jill is the owner of the Boyd House, and the Boyd House is located
In Boyd, Minnesota.
in Boyd, Minnesota. Okay. So, before we get to the Boyd House, um, I just want to get a little background about you and where you came from and how you got into the paranormal, how you got in, how I mean, I read your story, you sent me your bio and stuff, but for people that don't know, how you got to acquire the Boyd House and so forth. So we can start at the beginning and maybe move on up.
Sure. Yeah, so I was always kind of a weird kid, always liked a lot of the weird, creepy kind of
Aren't
things.
we all
I know. So I was always into ghosts and stuff since I was really little. But my first experience was at my grandmother's house, and she kind of had this one room upstairs that a lot of us kids we didn't like. It was really cold. You always felt like somebody was staring at you, like you weren't welcome in the room. So we didn't play in there very much. I always just felt uncomfortable. But one particular night, I woke up and I had heard footsteps coming out of that room, and they stopped at my door. And I was, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, something like that. My back was to the door, so there was like no way I was turning around. I was freaking out.
right.
But it always felt like somebody was like staring through you, almost like just this intense beam of light. Like, it's like, "Grr." And then I just kind of sighed and turned around and walked back into the other room. And that was that. Then I just kind of put the head, my covers over the head, and just like, oh, we can't wait for tomorrow. Mentioned it to my grandmother, and she sleeps downstairs. But she said, "Oh my gosh, honey, that's just a ghost, and he's not going to hurt you." And I was
Um,
like, "Oh, here, grandma. Grandma doesn't seem like that." She's like, "Whoa." So that kind of got me more interested. Like, I got to find out more about these things. I want to know everything I possibly can. So I just started just doing research. Doing library, movies, books. You name it. Um, and then with the advent of the ghost shows that have come out, I was like, "Oh, I didn't know you could like go out and actually do this." And
So wait,
so
how old were you at this point? Like when you decided to like start researching this stuff and everything?
Oh, as I was growing up through like, and especially got more in my teenage years, because I was able to get around myself a little bit more. Um, so yeah, just kind of doing that. And then that was probably that in 2010, I met a lot of people who were interested in the paranormal. And one of them, who was one of the founders with me, he actually did some investigating. And so then we started teaming up, and then we met more people through what we were doing. And so in 2010, we formed our group, St. Croix Paranormal. And then we started, out with private homes and businesses, and just kind of learning the ropes. Then we started branching out and doing well-known haunted places that just pay to go to. And so by doing all those things is where I came up with the idea of getting my own haunted location.
Okay, but we all want our own haunted location. We all want our own haunted location.
Exactly.
I mean, I think it's amazing that you actually, you said, okay, this is what I want, and you went and got it. Take us through that process because I I mean, I have like maybe 7 to 10 investigations lined up this year, and I would love to have my own place to be able to go, hey guys, come investigate my house. You know?
Yeah, nobody really advertises, "Hey, my house is haunted. You want to buy it?" So,
Right.
financially, I was able to do that. So my realtor is really cool. Like, she knew what I was into, you know, what I was really looking for. But so she's not really looking for me. I did all the looking. So I would just kind of go on the MLS listings and type in like my criteria as far as how old the house was, price range, that kind of thing. And I don't feel like I'm psychic or anything, but I do have a pretty good feel or a pretty good hunch. Even when we're out investigating, I kind of can bring us to a spot where something might happen. And then I just have a really good sense if something's actually around me. Um, so based on that, we did go look at a couple other properties that didn't pan out as much as I wanted to. But when I came across the Blue House, I was like hooked on it, like right away. Like it was like I almost became obsessed with it before I even went to look at it. I kept looking at the pictures, and it was just kind of had that this is the one feel to it for me. So then we ended up going down there for, so when we'd look at places, we would do mini investigations as well as checking out the property itself. So we were waiting for the realtor to show up, just sitting outside, and just she was running a little bit late, so we are just kind of sitting in silence. And I had Donna with me, my team member. And I said, you kind of feel like something's looking at you, and she's like, "Yep, right through the attic window. That's where I'm feeling it." And so when we went in there, you could feel that something was definitely around you, but they were being pretty standoffish.
Mhm.
But we did have a REM pod go off within 8 minutes of being there. And then I was running the spirit box, and we got a woman that was saying, "Who are you?" So, I mean, that's pretty valid because there's like, hey, this house has been vacant for a long time and nobody's come in here, and I'm a stranger. So that made a lot of sense. And so then I was like, "Oh, okay, well, let's see. Let me just check with a psychic medium I really, really trust." And she's like, "Oh gosh, yeah, there's 6 spirits there." She started telling me that there was women, men, children. Everything she told me, as we've done more research, everything that she told me was true or came true. That
Okay.
it really did happen. So then, but on my last resort, I'm like, "Oh, you know what? I was going to branch out. Let's ask the people that owned it because they lived there for a long time. They must have had some sort of interaction of some sort because we'll see what they say." And they're real hesitant to kind of talk about it a little bit because they were not elderly, but an older couple where, back in the day, if you talked about this, you were nuts, you were crazy.
Right, right.
So she said she always thought the house was a little bit funny, and that she would hear old time music playing just randomly. And then she reached out to the kids who are adults now, but they're like, "Oh God, yeah, we'd see a man all the time. He'd just show up." And they said they got touched all the time. Their friends who stayed over would get touched, and people would see things. And now that we have been there and started talking to some of the towns, because it's a very, very, very small town. There's only like 175 people in the town. So, everybody knows everybody in town. So a lot of them don't leave town either. They grow up there, they were raised there. So they have come forward too and have told us stories.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so they
So
had a lot.
here this family's living in this house prior, so they never really talked about it to each other? The kids
Not
never said.
not really. The one daughter, we've talked to her a lot, and she was chastised and basically made fun of and said they said you were crazy because
Mm,
she must have been more open because the son never really had any experiences. And
mhm,
then, the daughters had more experiences, but the one particular one had so many experiences that they just thought she was making stuff up and that she was crazy. So
mhm.
now that we've been there and have validated a lot of stuff, she feels way better about herself.
Yeah, and I'm sure now is the family still do you still have them involved with stuff? Do they still have
They
you
actually have come over, not with me, but I know another team was there at one time, and they had actually the family members come over and investigate with them. So,
Oh, good, that's
they thought-
awesome.
yeah, so they thought that was pretty cool.
So when I was looking for houses, right, before we moved into this one, I'm sure if my boyfriend was a paranormal investigator, we probably would have gotten this house regardless of location. Um, but I was getting confused at looking at houses, so I started to video the houses we went and saw so that I could go back and refer because we would sit down at night and talk about them. Like, okay, well, what did you like about this one? What did you like about, and I was getting confused.
Hmm.
We were looking at so many houses. So we go to this 1800s old Victorian, a paranormal investigator's like dream house, right? And like inlet wooden floors, all kinds of stuff, right? And as I had to open up a door to walk up the steps. And on the and later on, as I was watching back the video, as I'm walking up the steps, you hear an EVP. You hear close, shut the door. And so I immediately called my realtor. I was like, dude, I was like, listen, I was like, tell those people because they lived in Florida. They don't even live up here. So they're just trying to get rid of the house. They're already out of there. There was no furniture in the house. There was nothing. I said, call them. I was like, ask them, please. Like, can I pay them like I'll pay them $300 if I could just investigate there for the night. However, had it been like different, like it had like Eris had you know he'd been into it, I'd have been like, listen, we could buy this house and we can open it up to fellow investigators to come in. You know what I mean? And kind of get that going because the house clearly somebody wants to talk, right?
Right.
And I mean, so how did you were there rumors prior? And I apologize if you already said this, but were there rumors prior to you purchasing the Boyd house? Like whether that the place was active or it wasn't?
No, no, it was all on my own intuition. It's how I found it. And but then delving into with the people who had it before, then we were getting history on it. So
Gotcha. So you kind of like lucked out,
pretty
basically.
much, yeah. Like I said, we went to a couple other places. We even looked at churches for sale, that kind of stuff. But it just didn't have that feel. I mean, some places we get, a little something here, there, but it just didn't have the feel of like buy me.
Right. So you had that pull. And
Right.
so I read, when you sent me your bio and everything, I read that you restored it to look back like to the 1900s, back to the era of when it was built and everything. Did you notice that once you were doing that or did that kind of the activity increased?
Yeah, we got it was kind of interesting. We were doing a lot of spackling work at that time, and I actually got an EVP of a spirit saying that looks very elegant while I was doing it. I thought,
Oh,
well,
I
you know what?
love
They probably
that.
did spackling back in the day. They don't know what's going on. And then it was kind of funny. I met with a psychic medium. I was actually at a convention, and he said that he can just kind of get feel for a house. And so we got to talking, and he just started just throwing all this stuff out about the house. He doesn't know me. He's never met me. He's never heard of the Boyd house. But the one thing he said, which I thought was kind of interesting, is he said, yeah, somebody there was wallpapering and they didn't really know what they were doing. And the spirits got great humor out of watching this whole thing. And I had to laugh because I've never wallpapered. My husband's never wallpapered. There were some arguments and YouTubing going on and that kind of thing. So it was pretty comical, I'm sure, for the spirits to watch us to do that. So that was kind of cool that he didn't even know that, and that's exactly
Right.
what we were doing.
Yeah, see, that's interesting, and it kind of like, I mean, I feel like places like this where the spirit activity is familiar with the house or familiar with the land or familiar with, and they see the people that are there now that are trying to take care of it and then to restore it back to what it was maybe possibly when they lived there, to make it more of what they're used to. I feel like the chances of, this being, a bucket list destination for paranormal investigators more successful, and also, I think it keeps, the positivity in the house, that, you have to be careful of who you let in, I'm sure. You have to let people know, that, you know, respect this as if, you're walking into a family member's house, and respect this as if, you're, you know, going to somebody's house who's alive, and you're not going to be yelling at me to get out of my house or do anything, you know what I mean? So be respectful. Have you ever come across anybody that you had to, uh, I don't know, I don't want to say you had to ask leave, but anybody that was not nice to your unseen house guests?
Well, we do kind of tell people that there are no provoking, and again, like you said, being very respectful. Plus, I mean, anywhere you go when you investigate, you're going to get much more reaction than somebody yelling at you.
Right.
But we don't stay with people when they do the investigation, so they are there by themselves. So I'm just hoping most people abide by it. We do now have security cameras on, so I am able to monitor a little bit more what people
Oh,
are
that's
doing
good.
in
That's
the
good.
home too. So.
Yeah, no, that's smart. Only because if it, you look at like Hinsdale. I mean, they have security cameras out there too. Because now it's people drive by and they want to take pictures. You don't know what people are doing. People are
Right.
nuts. They think that and people will take stuff from the properties and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff because they're they don't think. So I think that that's good that you have the security cameras.
Yeah.
Also good in case something happens.
I know. I'm keep waiting. I was like, there was one day where the attic went off. It was like, and I'm like, oh, nobody's there.
Yeah.
The front door, back door. I'm just kind of whatever. But I'm like the attic, and then I looked and it was a bug, and I'm like, ah.
That's gotta be fun. You know what I mean? Like just to be able to now you don't live there, right?
No, no, I don't live there. We get down as often as we can, of course. But I feel like I have a pretty good connection with the spirits because I spend a lot of time there. Just a lot of time, just in general, just talking with them. Like I'm having a conversation with you and I. My favorite EVP that I think I got there one time is I was just there cleaning, talking, and I was just in one of the rooms, and I just kept going. Oh, I'm going to a wedding. Have you ever been to a wedding? I was just kind of on and on and on. I would not stop, and I captured a EVP. So as I was yammering on, I kind of drowned out her voice a little bit. But then I had took it a pause, and you heard her say, "I'm trying to sleep." So it's like, this poor lady's trying to take a nap, and I'm in there just cleaning and talking. And
That is so awesome. But see, that's what I love. I love that you like are there and you're like talking to them and you know, kind of keeping that 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 communication open and kind of just letting them know like, hey, we're just here to make the place great and we're here to, you know, bring in life back into the house and help restore it and get it to where it's at. I'm sure they appreciate that.
yeah, and we bring them gifts all the time. We go to the antique stores all the time, always looking for stuff. We did have the great fortune of their grandson actually lives in town, and he came over. He's in his 70s, but he came over one day and told us all kinds of stories about his grandparents. So things that you will not ever find in a book or anything. So just like things like how his grandmother fell down the stairs and broke her arm. I actually asked that on a spirit box, and I said, "Who fell and broke their arm?" And it said Minnie, plain as day. Um, so it was just kind of nice. He kind of also went through and said, "Oh, they had a smoking stand over here. My grandfather never smoked, but they had a smoking stand right here." So of course, I go out, buy a smoking stand, and put it right where he said it was.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and we actually got approached a couple years ago from the city hall. They actually had one of the benches that was original to the home back
Oh,
in the day, and so we bought that back and put that back in the house. So
that's amazing.
we'll get some of that activity on there as well. So it's just, yeah, we try to do everything we can for the spirits, and if we hear, whether it's through another team or my team, anybody, something that they ask for, if I can, I'll do it.
Right.
So
Let's see. I have followed some amateur investigators that provoke the spirits. Nope, that is not good. There's different kinds of provoking, I think, and provoke is such a taboo word. But I've dressed up in period dress, and to me, that's a form of provocation, but not in a negative way. Um, and I don't believe in you know, a bullying and being mean. I'm not a bully. I don't like bullies. So, being a bully to especially something you can't see is pretty stupid, if you ask me. And actually has probably more strength and more, could do whatever it wanted to do. And so to be mean and yell out and provoke and stuff like that is definitely not a good thing because you don't know what you're messing with. You know
exactly, exactly.
um, so give a little history of the house because you gave me, I read it. And hi, Kyle. Um, and there was uh,
Hello.
the whole family died. Were they the original owners of the house? The family that died in the house?
Well, our deed goes back to 1884 when the land was actually owned by the St. Louis and Minneapolis Railroad, and the tracks still run back in the backyard of the house. So when the train goes by, it shakes the whole house, and it's right there pretty much.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yes, I know. And they still toot the horn and woo, you know, when they
Oh, I love it. I would be out there every day doing this, making them
yeah.
do it. The
And
neighbors would be like, "Stop it!"
yeah, we went out and filmed that one day, and he's like waved at us and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
But so yeah, there's a lot of history there. But for the most family that we came up with, for the most history that has the most, would be the Fred and Minnie Eckhart, and they went to the house in 1912. So the house was actually built in 1901. They took it over in 1912. They
You
lived there.
don't know what was in between there?
There's just a couple families, but nothing tragically, you know, like they just lived there and moved on. So
Right.
nothing that I found majorly interesting. But with the Eckhart family, they actually had two of their children die in the home. One died at infancy, and then David died, I believe, when he was about 3. He actually choked to death in the house.
Oh,
And then Minnie died in the house as well as Fred, and then they held Minnie's funeral for about 3 days in the home, in the parlor with the big bay windows like they did back in the day. So she's there. We also had another lady in the 70s pass away in the house. So those are the ones that we confirmed now that died in the house. But I've had a couple psychics say, I think a couple people died of TB here, and you're not going to find any record of that, which would make sense because they didn't always take care of all the records.
yeah, I'm learning that, which I'm surprised. Like a lot of locations lately that I've been going to, they haven't been able to really. I thought back in the day they like with census records and all kinds of stuff. Like you could like find something out because I mean, you know, they did death certificates and stuff like that. But I am finding that a lot of places, you know, are missing history, you know, like
Right.
there's like stuff that's like they can't find, you know, and that's gotta be kind of frustrating, but you know, maybe one day.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, we don't know all the history, and we know that the town also back in the day was a very Wild West town. You know, they now there's nothing. Like I said, there's 175 people, 2 businesses in town. We don't even have a gas station. Um, so pretty much, you know, they had like 500 people back then. They had a hotel, they had restaurants, they had bars, they had everything. They even had a movie theater, grain elevators. The Eckharts actually owned one of the fancy stores in town, so they sold more of the higher end goods. And he was also very much part of the community. He and his father and brother helped build the Lutheran church there. He also served on the school board. He helped on the fire department. So just a lot of history, and I think that's why he stays. But the house was right on the edge of town, so like you could literally kitty corner, and you're right in town where all that stuff was. But the actual town location too was right on the Sioux Dakota reservation line. So I'm sure there was a lot of stuff going on
Oh
back in the day
yeah.
that we are never going to know about. So
Well, yeah. So could the house be put on the historic registry?
I suppose if you wanted to develop in that, possibly, yeah. Just know they have a lot of rules then when you're
I
trying
don't
to
know. Yeah,
do
renovate
stuff.
and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just kind of come up with things on a whim, and that's what I like to do. So
Mhm.
we do maintain a lot of the history because we did put a really nice book together of the entire Eckhart family history and a little bit of the Boyd history. Um, and we were actually able to get like copies of their draft records and things like that. So they didn't really put, you know, it's kind of interesting on like height. They don't put like 5'6", 5'7". They write the word medium or tall.
Oh yeah, yeah, I have noticed
Yeah,
that.
yes.
Yes.
So it's kind of cool. So we have actually Fred's draft record, his son's draft records,
Oh, that's cool.
all handwritten things. We have also some articles, or not articles, advertisements that he used to put in magazines and stuff for his grocery store. So we have that. So yeah, we got a nice little book all together with the history. So we kind of keep that a little bit alive with, and we got a bunch of photos too. So
Yeah. So have you been able to, or have you ever looked up any of the Weichert family?
yeah, we have actually, like I said, the grandson still lives in the town.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I missed that. I
Yeah,
apologize.
so we've talked to him about some stuff too, and like he's in his late 70s now, so you know, I think it's just him and his sister left. I don't think there's anybody
When you were
Yeah.
talking about talking to the family before, I thought you meant the people that lived there before you owned it.
Yeah, there was the people that lived there before I owned it, but they weren't related to the Eckharts. They had just purchased it in the 70s, I think, is when they bought it, and then they lived there up until I bought it.
Wow, that's crazy. And so what would you say would be like the most profound thing that happened for you in the Boyd house?
Oh, there's a lot of things.
We like ghost stories.
I know. There's so many things. I do like when I hear the audible voices. It's not super often, but we will hear the audible voices. Just recently, I was coming out of one of the kids' room. I left them a toy, and I was super busy because the one thing I forgot when you own your own place is like you have to clean it, maintain it. So that takes a little precedence. On hello.
She's from Indonesia. Just want to
Okay,
give Jing a shout out. So
cool.
there you go. All
Boy,
right, go ahead.
we're like worldwide now.
Yeah.
um, yeah, so I was coming out of the kids' room, I was just like, oh, I hope you like your new toy, but gotta go, because this is what I do all the time. And I didn't catch what he said, but I heard a little boy say two words. But one way that we had that was really good. I was my friend Teresa. She was cleaning in the kitchen. I was cleaning up what we call mini shelf because we've bought her, little trinkets and things like that. And she has a fern because her grandson said she loved ferns. That was like her favorite plant. So we have a fake fern on the shelf. I was picking things up and dusting it, and I heard like this a lot electronic-y sounding voice, but I didn't like really catch what it said. But I thought to myself, oh, Teresa must be turning on the spirit box or something, because that's what it reminded me of. And
Right.
this is all in split seconds. But then as soon as I thought that, she said, what did you just say? And I'm like, that I just heard that. So it's like, she said, to her, it sounded like it said, leave it. And I said, well, I was just picking up her plant. So maybe she wanted to make sure I didn't take her plant.
It's crazy. It sounds like it's mostly intelligent.
Oh yeah, this is crazy. They will play cards. They love to play 21. And they'll use a K2 meter to indicate they want a hit or not a hit, and they are dead on.
Wow.
They are dead on every time. And then I thought, well, one time I'm like, I think I'm gonna run a spirit box at the same time just to see if we get any voices. And so they had a pretty good hand. I'm like, well, you want to stay? You want to split? What do you want to do? And then it said, we'll stay, right on the spirit box. And so I was like, okay.
Is there do you put these videos up anywhere
Oh
or?
yeah. We put it out either on our page, our Facebook page for Boyd House, or St. Croix Paranormal. We have a YouTube channel, so we'll put all our stuff up there.
And what is the YouTube channel?
It's just under St. Croix Paranormal.
I don't know.
Saint Croix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I could understand. It sounded like it was, so that's two words, right?
Yeah. It's ST and then CROIX. So
Okay.
Saint Croix.
Gotcha. Minnesota.
Yep, in Boyd, Minnesota. I wasn't very creative with the name.
So you made that name up. It wasn't called.
I did, yeah. And you know what? It was kind of like, because I wanted to do the LLC pretty quickly, and I didn't really have any history of the house yet. So I'm like, well, it's in Boyd. I'm just going to call it the Boyd House,
That's amazing. Is there another Boyd house somewhere?
I think I've looked, and there's might be something in Ohio. It's not a haunted thing. It's just, it was there, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard. So not right. No, not down. No, not around the corner from us, unfortunately. Because it definitely sounds like somewhere I'd want to go. I love intelligence. I love EVPs. So I love that they are very opinionated, and they're very open to talk, and they're very open to let you know what they like and what they don't like. Because I think that kind of helps you out a little bit with, like, so if, let's just say you're about to, for whatever, like you're going to put wallpaper up and you hear, don't do that, it's ugly. I'm just throwing it out there. Like if you get somebody say, no, you don't do that. Now, do you go by what they want, or do you say, listen, this is my house now, I understand you lived here, but I'm going to do this because this is how I feel it should be done, or do you kind of reason and go back and forth and kind of try to do your thing, but also respect their wishes as well?
Yeah, I mean, I try to do what they can. It's fine that you bring that up because we have this one spirit named George, and he's very, I don't know, just he's just so, it's just I'm George, and this is how it's going to be. I happened to ask him what color he wanted his room, and he said red. And I was like, I really don't want to do red. I already have a red library. If I ever resell, red's kind of a hard color to cover off.
Right, right.
And so I didn't do it for a while, and every time we spirit box Estes, anything, EVPs, we're getting the color red, 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 red room, want it red, do it now.
No red rum, right?
I know, no red rum. But I was just like, I'm like, George, I kept saying, oh, I'm busy. It's summertime. I can't get it done right now. I promise I'll get her done. Well, I didn't really want to do red. So then I tried to conversate with, I said, how about if we do like a red brick wallpaper? So it's still red, but it's kind of bricky. It'll look best because he's in the basement. I'm like, it'll look better here.
Yeah.
And he was like, no. It was like red room. So we have been going round and round. I put up the red brick because I'm like, let's compromise. Because also he wanted red chairs, he wanted slippers and a pipe and stuff. I've given him red chairs. I've given him everything. He even wanted whiskey. So we got a fake alcohol bottle. Well, it wasn't fake; it's an antique bottle. But so I appeased him that way. And another medium was telling me, he's like, "You'll never please that guy. Never. You'll never please him."
Oh, wow.
And so then I was just there one time, and he was just going on about the red room. This was just not very long ago. And I was just like, George, come on now. I've given you everything. I've done everything. Can we just compromise? Like, really? And I kind of went off. And then he finally said, he goes, okay, it's nice. I'm sorry. So it's just like,
I wonder what it is. Like, instead of painting the town red, he wants to paint the room red. Like,
yeah, right.
I mean, I don't know. I think, do you watch the show Ghosts on CBS?
Oh, I love that show.
That's so amazing.
Funny. I know.
Don't you wish, like, I almost want to fall down the steps and hit my head and see if I really will start seeing, you know what I mean? Like,
I know.
And then to be in a place like that where it's so active, your place, it makes you wonder if like that's what it really is like. I mean, I love watching it, how nobody else can see them, but they make the lights flicker when they need to like,
right.
And you really sit back and you think like, is that really how it works? Like, is that really what's going on?
I know. When I watch that, I'm like, I wonder if that is how they view us or something,
So have you ever done any, so you've matched up history with some stuff that you've caught paranormal investigating wise, which is great. I think it's awesome. Have you ever done any experiments or any type of, have you ever had anybody come in that was more on the scientific side of things and was like trying to more or less look for reasons why things would be happening? Have you ever had that type of people come in?
No, not that I've asked people to come in or anything, but I think also with the different groups and the different types of investigating and the different skills everybody has, and some are psychic, some are not psychic. I think just seeing quite a lot of that variety and a lot of the same consistency that people are getting, it's really kind of helping put things together that, yes, this is for sure what is going on or who is there, that kind of thing too. Because I feel like, for me, I like to take more of a approach with the spirits, and this is even if we're going to a different location. We really don't like to focus on death because really we probably know how you died, and who wants to talk about that anyway? Nobody wants to talk about that. So we just focus on things like, what's your favorite color? Did you have a favorite vacation? Did you go anywhere? Where would you have wanted to go? So we focus more on more of their personal beliefs and their spiritual side, so to say, rather than focusing on death. And I think that's why we get a lot of really good responses from spirits.
That's awesome. Troy brings up this, which I didn't even know this, but last time I heard of a red room in the basement, Amityville.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
didn't even know Amityville had a red room in the basement.
yeah,
So
I don't remember that either. I'll have to, it's been a while since I've seen it. But we do have a lot of flies in the house, which is weird, especially this time of year. I always wondered that too. I'm like, why do we always have flies and it's like 20 below outside? So it's
well, Hinsdale does too.
okay. That's I know it's weird. I was gonna look it up, like, can flies really survive in 20 below? What are they doing there? I mean, they're slow, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're like, oh, must go on. What if they're ghost flies?
yeah. Well, they're leaving carcasses, so I don't think so.
I'm nice to everything. So, like, when we were at Hinsdale and there's flies everywhere, you know what I mean? It's like, um, I'm like opening the windows and I'm saving the flies, and everybody's, I was like, kill them. I'm like, I can't kill anything. Yes, I agree with you, Ron, that Amityville, I don't know about proven fake, but I do know that after um, Mrs. Lutz passed away, the mother, you know, Christopher came out and kind of gave a different story that we all knew about, which is why I see, and this is why I like to talk to people that have the houses that you have, because there wasn't a big movie made about it. There's no controversy about it. There's no like somebody was hanged here and they were murdered here, and that makes it, it's factual history stuff that you have, on file. There were deaths in the home. That doesn't always necessarily mean that a place is haunted just because somebody died in the home,
Mhm.
but um I do believe that spirits can be attached to a home if they love it enough, you know, me, I always say I'm going to be haunting the Eisenhower farmhouse in Gettysburg. I would love to live there. Do you know what
Mhm.
I mean? And so I
Yeah.
said, when I die, that's where I'll be. So, like, I think, that, having a place that's not so Hollywood-fied up, if you will,
Mhm.
I think holds more merit in the paranormal community than the places that now everybody wants to get into a place like Amityville because you're not allowed to even take a picture outside of there. You know what I mean? And people are like, "Oh, I want it in," but I do not believe it to be what people have said it to be. That
Right.
that's for sure. Um, Hi, Kenny. I was just talking about scientific stuff. But I agree with him that the Amityville was not what it was. But I do like what do people need to do to be able to investigate at the Boyd House? How much does it cost? Can they stay the night? Are there a certain amount of nights you have to stay, because there are some places that do that too. So
Yeah, I think traveling around and doing what we do, we would sit around and say, if we had a place, this is what we'd like, or what would we change about this place. So we kind of came up with some really good things. I do try to keep it, cost effective. All our money that we do get actually goes right back into the house. So we just charge a mere $200 a night. And we allow up to 8 people, and we let you come in from 3 p.m. until stay till noon the next day. That way you get a little bit of time. You can set up, you can have some dinner, you get to investigate, you can sleep a little bit. And we're fully functioning house too. So, we're full, we have heat, we have electric, we have 2 bathrooms, we have a shower.
oh
We do have
wow.
one bed people can use. Otherwise, most people sleep downstairs and bring their own cots and that kind of thing. We have, Victorian couches, not super comfortable to sleep on.
Right.
We do have
Right.
couple of chairs, and then a fainting couch too. So there's spots that you can sit. So and then we have like coffee and hot cocoa and popcorn and some snacks available that people can have. We have microwave, refrigerator, pizza oven that if people want to bring their own frozen pizza to make, they can. So we try to make it comfortable and homey, and so we call it kind of an elegant place to spend a night with ghosts. It's kind of
That's
what we
lovely.
have.
It's in Minnesota.
Yep, land of the frozen.
So, what is the so people investigate, and then do they send you stuff that they get, or EVPs and then pictures or whatever it is that they get? while they're there.
Yeah, not everybody does. We do have a guest book too, so a lot of people will fill that out. But if I know like the paranormal team's name, if they're on Facebook or something, I'll check and see if they're doing any live feeds. So I'll see that. And then a few people send me stuff. A lot of times I just search for it. I'll hop on YouTube and type in my house, and they'll be like, "Oh, look at that video! I haven't seen that." But I love seeing what other people get. It's just like the highlight of my day. I'm like, "Ooh, somebody's here this weekend. I hope they post
Yeah.
stuff." So it's like,
How often do you go?
oh, it varies. In the winter, it's a little less just because, depending on the roads and stuff. But surprisingly, we get a lot of bookings in the wintertime too. So, we try to get down there at least once a month if we can.
Yeah. I ask this of everybody that owns a location like this because I imagine myself, I would probably live there. You
Oh, I
know,
would go more
they,
often. Yeah, if I could. I totally
yeah,
would go more often.
yeah.
But
I say that, but I don't know because I've never been in that position. But for me, for to have a quote unquote haunted house, and I feel like I'd want to be there all the time. You know what I mean? And just kind of, so I ask people all the time, how do you keep yourself away from it? Because you know it's yours. You can go whenever you want. You can, do what you want.
yeah. Well, unfortunately, life, travel time, and when it's booked, you can't go. So
True.
yeah, and we do have, I work full time too. So pretty much weekends is what I have available. And that is when most people are there investigating. So, it's pretty self sufficient. You have to take out the trash, kind of clean up after yourselves again, because I'm not there all the time. So we
Yeah,
just,
which I think most people do anyway.
right, right.
You know?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, we've had a few people that are disrespectful. But I think you're
Yeah.
gonna get that in anything that you do. So
Well, and then you just know not to let them come back.
right, yeah, there is one people I did have to ban from coming back. So other than that, for the most part, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's the furthest somebody has traveled to stay at the Boyd House?
I believe Colorado.
Hmm. Wow.
I think that's the farthest that somebody has come.
In Colorado, they have Shanley Hotel. They're
Yeah,
like, I mean, Stanley, I'm sorry,
Stanley,
Stanley
yeah,
Hotel, which they don't do investigations anymore, but you know, which is sad, you know what
I
I mean?
know.
Uh such a great place. But has anybody ever come, not that this makes a difference, I'm just asking. Anybody like any paracelebs, anybody that we know of that has ever been to the Boyd House?
No, we haven't had any of those. We've gone to conferences, where they are, and we've talked. They know who I am. We've given them my card. But ultimately, I think a lot of it has to do with their agent or their booking person versus, you can say, "Yeah, come to my house all you want," but unless their agent says, "Yep, we're going to go there," they're probably not going to
You
come.
know, and it would be so cool to see new locations.
Yeah, I believe me, I've tried. So if there's anybody out there who knows any of them
If
want to come,
anybody's
we're
watching,
open. We'd
Kenny
love
Biddle, tell Jay Halls to go to the Boyd House. you know um because I mean I feel like we would love to see new locations, you know what I mean,
right.
around, we see a lot of the same locations. I'm not taking anything away from those places because we love them, you know what I mean, but definitely would. Well, I'll put a little word into Sherry's ear. I'll just mention it. The Boyd House in Minnesota. Go check it out, and
There
see.
you go. Appreciate
Yeah, yeah. I'll put a little word out there. Hopefully, somebody watches this and can get information to whoever to be able to come out and check it out at least. You know, um, so there is shared evidence on YouTube. There's shared evidence on the Facebook page. People can go to the Boyd House Facebook page and go to the Saint. How do you say the second word? I apologize.
Yeah, it's St. Croix.
Croix. Okay. So the St. Croix YouTube page. Um, let's see. Hi, Mark. Hey, sorry for the late appearance. Just got back from date night. That's okay. Um, how far out are you booked?
It depends on which month you're talking about. So March is getting pretty full. We're starting to get some summer reservations trickling in right now. So it just kind of depends. February's a little bit open right now. March, again, filling up. April a little bit. So usually if you just go to our website, which is boydhouse217.com, you can check out, we got our calendar there, and it's got a little bit of information for everybody too about the house. There's a little video we put together. With some REM pods going off and different equipments going off and cards that have been thrown off the table. That was like my favorite day because I was down there and I had put a REM pod on the table and it was going crazy on and off for most of the night. And then I had put a card. I brought a bunch of old coins from like 1900s and I put those out as those were the prizes. And I was, I'd go down there and shuffle the cards and, deal them out and say, aces are wild, jacks are this, and just, just throw some poker lingo. But I took one card and I put it to the edge of the table. It was never hanging over the edge at all. It was like just up to the edge of the table. And I said, if you've enjoyed tonight's games, just push this card off and that'll let me know that you had fun tonight. And I said that several times. And then finally, I think about midnight was the last time that I'd gone down there, said the same thing. And then about 15 minutes later, that card come flying off that table. So I caught that on film. And I was super excited about it. I was jumping up and down in the morning when I saw it. I'm like, the card's off the table.
And you caught it, like it caught.
Yeah, I didn't know if I had caught it on film or not because I think I was running the old high 8. So if it was after a certain time frame, the tape wouldn't have been running anymore. So I didn't know when this card had happened. So luckily it was, like I said, 15 minutes after I left. So I was really excited about that.
That's awesome. And that's on the boydhouse217.com website.
That video is up on there. Yes.
And the St. Croix it's CRIO.
CROIX.
Oh, CR.
Oh,
I don't know why it is so hard for me to do. Like, I don't understand.
It's not the easiest name. I don't know. We came up with it because we're in the St. Croix Valley and we're also on the St. Croix River out of Stillwater. That's how we came up with the name. But a lot of people have a hard time, sometimes pronouncing it or spelling it. I suppose we live here, so it's just kind of second nature to us,
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like it's like I'm putting it in the comments so people can actually, go check it out. Where you guys have all this stuff at. Because I'm interested. I'm gonna go look for some of the videos of the evidence and hopefully one day, I'm in New Jersey, but hopefully one day I will be able to make it to Minnesota to check out the Boyd House. And are there any big plans for it coming up? Why don't you think about having like a haunted open house or something? You know what I mean? Like something where paranormal enthusiasts or investigators can come and, it's almost like an open house, but you're, letting people walk through and get, just check it out. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. We think about doing stuff like that. I know a lot of us are just super busy. Teresa's in school now. She's trying to get a career going. But we are planning on doing something this October. We're thinking about maybe doing like a spaghetti dinner type thing and then with an investigation.
Yeah.
We'll just limit it real small because the house is small. So we just kind of do like a little investigation with us. And Teresa's like a beacon for everything. she's pretty much, I don't know what it is. We go somewhere like any conventions and all the psychics come up to her and go, oh my God, you have the most amazing light around you. So, and she's also one of those, whenever we investigate her, we call her the paranormal punching bag because she's the one who always gets scratched and pushed or touched or something always physically happens to her. But for some reason, this girl, Estes, is like, I have never seen anybody do. Like, I will have complete hour conversations with the spirit and it's just incredible. It's like full on sentences, questions. She's got us doing stuff like drawing pictures on chalkboards, getting Diet Cokes for, maybe a patient at a hospital. We've done that before, but they've asked for it. And just talking about all the surroundings and everything that's going on and everything that we're doing, yet she can't see us or hear us. So it is just absolutely amazing.
The St. Croix, I'm saying that right?
Yep, St.
River.
Croix River.
Croix. Ah!
I don't know. There's some spooky fish in there. I usually kayaked in there. That's about it.
Has an amazing river to fish. Lived in Prescott, Wisconsin for almost 2 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that river divides Minnesota and Wisconsin. So,
Gotcha. So is that close, the river?
no, not for the
You know
boy.
what's interesting though? You have the railroad right there.
Yes.
The railroad's got to be it's a conductor for energy too. You know, have you ever witnessed any railroad stuff outside? Like, have you ever seen or witnessed any like conductors? Well, you know what I mean, or anything like that having to do with the
No,
railroad?
I haven't. I haven't really done a lot of outside stuff. Unfortunately, winter is really cold and brutal. And then if you're there in the summer, you might as well have 90 pounds of bug spray on you because you're going to get eaten alive. So it's really tough to get out in that particular area because I have done some spirit box stuff outside. Some people have said they've seen stuff outside. Before I bought the house, the one psychic told me, she's like, oh, there's a man that loves to garden and you'll see him come in through the back door on time to time. And one of my neighbors actually told me that her daughter can kind of see spirits. And she's like, oh, and then I didn't even tell her what the psychic said, but she just came up to me one day and said, yeah, my daughter sees a guy gardening and comes in the back door all the time. And I'm like, okay, well, now two people just told me that.
Oh, wow.
And then I come to find out from the grandson, yes, Fred indeed was a huge gardener. He loved to garden everything, flowers and vegetables and all kinds. He had apple trees and all kinds of stuff. So he was
Wow.
very much into gardening. So, and we
Wow.
get EVPs and stuff like Fred's here, Fred's coming. So we know Fred's still there. So, and I think just like I said, they were so pronounced, in the community. And I think they just love the house. And I think, possibly maybe this is a theory of mine that since the children died there, they don't know how to cross. And then maybe they don't know how to cross them. So they're all just kind of like, we're just going to stay here.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, I believe that heaven, your heaven, or wherever it is, is what you think or what you want. So
right.
if that was their heaven,
Hmm.
you know, um, maybe that's why they are there, and they're just going about their business. I mean, like I said, we could talk about if you ever saw the movie The Others with Nicole Kidman. That was more on the spookier side of things, but it was the same thing. I mean, the whole movie you're thinking the old people are the ghosts, and Nicole Kidman's trying to protect her family, but at the end you find out they're all ghosts,
Hmm.
and but like the movie or like the show Ghosts, you know what I mean? Like it's, you know, you see that you want to you want to believe like that's what it is, you know what I mean? That show Ghosts, how
Hmm.
it's they're telling the girl that can hear and see, oh, don't do that, we don't like that, or do this, we like this, can you do this, can you do that, in a paranormal investigator world or paranormal investigator's life, like that's what you want, that is what you want.
Exactly. Well, we've added a lot of things too. Like we've bought some.
I hope that's not a spoiler. That movie's old. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. And we've bought a lot of stuff in there too. So supposed haunted objects. I don't know what the truth is on that, if they are or not. So we have a lot of supposed haunted dolls.
Oh, I was going to ask you if you had dolls.
Yes. Oh, yes. And yeah, one group says I have a doll obsession. Then I have way too many dolls at the house.
Uh,
But they just kind of keep calling to me or something. So we have a lot of dolls, and other objects too that we've gotten. One of our most um, eviler stories, I guess, if you wanted to put it that way, is that we have this really strange, really weird painting that this lady wanted to get rid of ASAP. I can't even describe it. It's like a door with a monkey sitting on a bench with a tree. It's very three-dimensional, very cool looking. But she said that they found it on the side of the road of her and her husband, and it was actually sitting on a set of red chairs by a tree, exactly as in the painting was. There's also a story written around the frame about monkeys on the painting, which she would never read. because she felt she was going to summon something, but she always felt like something was staring at her through that picture. She never liked it. But her husband brought it home, put it up in the garage, became very obsessed with the picture. Like he would sometimes just be standing there, just staring at the picture, just very involved in it. Eventually, he did commit suicide in front of that painting. And so, of course, she wanted it out of her house. And so now we have it.
Okay, so here's my question. And this isn't, and you know what? This is for anybody that I ask this. I ask this of anybody that owns a haunted location. Hinsdale is not excluded. Selma Mansion's not excluded. Like all these places that I love and I hold near and dear to my heart. What, like the place is claimed to be haunted, if you will, for lack of better description of whatever word anybody wants to use. Why the need to bring in haunted objects and dolls and stuff like that? Like, is there like if it's already active? And I'm just asking, like, I mean, do you feel it just adds to the story for the house, or are you hoping to bring more spirits in? Like, what is the?
I think it gives it a little bit more of the ambiance, a little bit more of the creep factor. But also, I think for me, it's kind of a collector kind of situation
Gotcha.
where it's like,
Okay.
but do I want that stuff at my own house? No, I do not. So it's like, we'll just put it over at the other house and I can just visit with it when I go there. So.
Yeah. Have you ever felt anything weird with the painting?
I have not found anything personally weird with the painting. We have had like the spirit box. I think the very first day we asked, we said, "Hey, what do you think of this picture?" It said "monkey evil, get rid of it." So they didn't like that, and a couple times they have mentioned they don't like the picture. But we haven't had anything evil, malevolent at the house. Everything's really been pointing towards the Eckhart family and children. We have gotten a few named Lisa, and that's supposedly a doll I bought. Her name was Lisa.
Okay, Lisa would have to go.
Yeah, so I don't know, and so I don't know if that's the same one. I don't know. But yeah, everything like I said is they're more friendly. They're very intelligent. Sometimes they like to play pranks on you, that kind of stuff too. So they're just a bunch of fun people to hang out with.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And now, how long have you owned the house? I'm sorry, you bought it when?
2018. Yeah,
Hmm.
so we're coming up on what, 4 years now, something like
That's
that.
awesome.
4.
And you've noticed the activity has increased as the longer you've.
Yeah, when I first got it, it was very minimal. Like I wasn't, and I was like, oh God, did I make a mistake? Maybe it's really not haunted. But I spent a lot of time, as we were probably working 3-4 months before we opened because we had to do, cleaning and get stuff ready, that kind of stuff. But I had to really explain what things were because, when you go to other well-known haunted locations, people been in there 110 times. They know what a REM pod is by now. So they know what that is. They know what it does. But now when you're coming into a house, they don't know what anything is. This is all weird. Nobody's ever talked to them. So now this is all just kind of strange anyway. So I spent a lot of time trying to explain what I was doing and why. But there was one particular night I was in the kids' room and I had my little like EMF REM bear. And I had him and I'm like, look, you got to touch Wally. I like, if you want people to bring you gifts, I'll bring you more gifts. We just got to know that you're here. You just got to let us know. And then I left and then that bear went on and off for like 4 hours.
Really?
Yep. And then I think right after that, and I just started explaining like, this is how things work. This is what's going on. And now I just kind of feel like if somebody brings in a new piece of equipment, they're all over it. They're like, ooh, what is this? What does this do?
Yeah.
Versus like the same old things. But I'll bring them, like I said, I bring them gifts. I just recently bought Fred. I felt like he liked birds. I don't know why, I just do. So I brought like a little bird statue. We got it at an antique store and I put it on the piano, threw a REM pod up next to it. I said, Fred, got this bird for you. If you like this bird, just touch this REM pod. That'll let me know. That thing went on and off for like a half an hour.
Oh,
So
that's
I
cool.
was like, oh, good. I know you like that. Because we bought something else too, like an old radio. And I put a REM pod by the radio too. So I'm like, well, if you like that, touch that. Well, they didn't touch the radio. And that was in the other room.
Yeah.
they went crazy for the birds. So
Have you ever spent a night alone?
I have, yes, and it was a little spooky because
Mhm.
it's a big house. It's like 2,100 square feet, and it's
Oh,
old,
wow.
and it's yeah. So I had some guy coming the next day to do an estimate for some work, and I was doing work myself, so I purposely spent the whole day keeping myself busy and doing things.
Mhm.
I think I was up in the bathroom getting ready to paint, and I could start hearing footsteps coming up the stairs. And I just said, "Not today, guys, not today." And then I had nothing that whole night, which was good.
Oh,
So,
wow. That's awesome. I love that you have that relationship, or that you feel that you have that comfort, to set boundaries and be, because a lot of people don't understand, you set your boundaries, and that's a lot with private homes and stuff. They don't know any better, but set your boundaries and say, okay, I'm cool. We can talk. It's just like how, I'm trying to sleep. You know what I
right,
mean? Like you're talking and she's like, well, I'm trying to go to sleep. So
exactly.
like you have that mutual respect going on over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, well, an hour went really
Oh
fast.
yeah, gosh, that sure did.
Is there anything you want to like tell people where to find the Boyd House, how they can book and I think $200 a night is awesome. I mean, that is definitely affordable for, especially if you let what, 8 to 10 you said.
Right, right.
I
Eight,
mean, that's
usually eight is what I would usually do.
eight.
Just 10,
Hell,
kind
even.
of pushing it, then it gets a little crowded and stuff in there.
Yeah. 8 is great. Um, and I think that that's so affordable for people to be able to, people that don't get to go to the locations that are charging $2,000 a night, and I mean, it's insane. Some of the places, the locations, um, the more limelight they get, the higher the prices go, and it just makes it very hard for us to get into, So I think $200 a night is amazing.
Yeah, like I said, I try to keep it affordable, and I understand why other people have the prices they do. They also have a bigger building, more overhead, that kind of thing. So I get
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
as well. But I like to keep it, as long as I'm not drowning and I'm getting the bills paid, then we're gonna kind of keep it at a low price so we can keep people coming in.
yeah, that's awesome. Any plans for any renovations coming up or doing anything in the
We're just kind of finishing up the basement. Otherwise, we pretty much have done. There's one other room I got to tackle. I haven't decided what I want to do, or they
red
haven't told
room?
me
Like you want to paint it red?
yet. No, that's we did the brick for that. It's the boys' room. I want to do something different with the boys' room. But other than that, yeah, just now where I'm at that fun point of decorating. Putting up artwork and things like that. So it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Well, you know what? I think it's awesome, and I'm very happy for you that you were able to do what you wanted to do. Um, quick question before you go: if you could go anywhere, money, location, nothing's stopping you. No, nothing. Time, money, location. Where would you want to go?
It'd be really cool. Would be like some castles in Ireland. That would be awesome
Yes.
to see something like that. Even if you
Yeah.
didn't ghost investigate, just to go see that, that's super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. But it's so old over there. I mean, how could you not have?
Oh yeah, they got haunted castles over there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Jill, thank you so much for
Oh, you're
joining me.
welcome. It was very
And
fun.
I hope one day I get to make it out to the Boyd House. And everybody go check out their YouTube page and the Facebook page. They have videos on there of stuff that they've caught on camera, EVPs and everything like that in the house. And, get yourself out to Minnesota. If you're close by, get to the Boyd House. And get us people some evidence and stuff coming from there. I want to see some more. I want to see that card video. That's what
Yes, definitely.
I'm gonna go on there. I want to see that card video. I think that's awesome. What a great catch. Um, but thank you. And I hope you come on again.
Yes, definitely. We'd love to have you come back on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a good night
And
and
you too.
happy haunting.
Yes, you as well.
I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Good night. All right, everybody. Wow, that was crazy. I didn't even know this about the videos of the card flying and all this and that. Go check out their websites and stuff. I don't have my book down here next week. What is next week? Next week. I'm sorry. I don't have my book down here with me. I'm lying. I do. Hold on. I should know this stuff, right? But I don't. So I will tell you guys. Let's go into my book and see what I got next week. Oh, I have Dan Klaus from Dan Klaus from Hinsdale coming on next week. We're gonna talk some Hinsdale. Oh, that's gonna be good. Hinsdale. We investigated the Peaches, and I investigated September, and to date, it is my favorite place that I have ever been to date. So I'm looking forward to that. I do want to talk to Dan about that. Do I have an email address? Yes, I do. You can either do Paranormal Brew 2017 at gmail.com, I believe. It's easier to just email me. Let's see. The brew. Yep. It's, oops. I need my glasses. It's Paranormal Brew 2017 at gmail.com. Or you can just email me at Taryn C. Kerp10 at Gmail. I'll get either one. But this weekend I have an investigation all weekend long in Birdsboro, Pennsylvania. I will go live for that. Also, next week is Dan Klaus with Hinsdale House. I'm looking forward to that. So I hope you guys join me next week, and I thank you guys so much, so much for joining me every week, every Wednesday. Starting next week, the brew will be 8:30 p.m. Eastern, not 7:30 anymore. 7:30 is getting a little tough with work, so I had to just push it up an hour. So from here on out, it's 8:30, not 7:30. And I hope you guys all join me. I'm live on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. And you can find Paranormal Brew on Instagram as well, but not live. And I hope you guys join me next week. PA is what? Get out. I'm going to kick your butt. I will definitely. What is it's like my? Are you talking about my Gettysburg shirt? I don't know what PA. I don't know what the. But thank you everybody for joining me, and I hope to see you guys next week.